Are we recording now?
We are recording now.
Are we going to do this? Are we going to sing the intro or?
No, we'll paste that in later. We've got the technical capabilities.
We can rebuild it.
Well, I don't know why I'm listening tonight. I got a feeling that the cards just ain't right. I'm so salty, must not give in to rage. And I'm wondering what those rollers will say. Scrubs to the left of me, cheaters to the right. Here I am, gonna roll a derby tonight. Gonna roll a derby tonight. Gonna roll a derby tonight.
G'day viewers and welcome to Hidden City Roller Derby episode 15.
Holy shit!
That is quite amazing. We have an incredible full house. We are live from what is J. Kristoff Studios called?
Studio K.
Studio K.
Special K.
It's where the deck building magic happens.
We're on deck testing out 4 worlds, and we have a full house here today. Do we want to sound off?
Hi, I'm Merlin.
Jay. Glen as...
And special guest.
Paris, all the way from New York. Shout out to the New York crowd.
Are you an American werewolf in Paris?
I guess I'm an American werewolf in Melbourne.
an American Paris in Melbourne.
And I'm Bert. Nice to be here.
It doesn't sound like it. You sound a little bit serious.
I don't know why. I'm really having a good time.
He's in testing mode. He's just
He
super
is.
serious.
He's in full-on world
But-
prep mode.
Can we just say, by world's prep mode, all we're talking about is trying to work out how to beat
How to
dragon.
beat dragon.
How to slay a dragon. That is what we're doing.
I am playing the role of Mind's Desire tonight.
Yeah, he's been speaking in the third person as Emil for us. It's been fucking lovely.
He's been putting that bid dial to 5 and not looking at it again for the whole game.
Yes. So we've been training hard for worlds tonight, and we've got a bit of a variety hour for you tonight. We've got our usual live podcast that we're doing at the moment, but we do have a few little interviews as well. But I think there was some news, right? Merlin, do you want to cover the news today? What happened?
Oh, that's right. I'm supposed to have that.
Did we have
at
some
hand, don't
stuff that happened or not really? Is there anything new that got announced?
Children of the Empire? I think that was the most recent news, right? Besides all the things like the Scorpion book and the Scorpion pack are released, but we're not going to talk about any of that, right?
So they gave us a little hint about this, that it was going to be a previously, unpresented, unique item. Do we think it met expectations?
I think it exceeded my expectations.
I mean, it's a major expansion, I guess, which is their first one. There's a lot of cards, like 76?
82.
82.
82 cards.
76.
Oh, 76
of 3,
non-uniques
and then 6 unique
uniques on top of
ones.
that.
Yeah.
That's a lot of cards. Like, how much was in core?
Core
200
had
cards?
Core had like 200.
Yeah.
It's a little over a third of a core set.
Yeah, so that's a big
which
set.
is huge.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a full arc, right?
Did Core have 200 unique cards?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Core was massive, man.
Yeah. So they said like 72 sets of 3, I think, and then 6. Oh, that doesn't quite up to 84.
It's 82 cards 82 cards in total.
Yeah, all right.
I'm on this.
Yeah,
82
okay.
cards in total.
I don't need to check your math.
Did they announce street date?
First quarter
Q1.
of 2019.
And they've also promised that every remaining clan mini expansion is going to be out by end of next year, right?
Yep.
So the next clan pack is Crane. I
Crane
believe.
and Unicorn.
Then Unicorn.
Where did you guys find that?
So good.
Was that in the article?
There's a
The
list
thing is,
of-
you just look at the spoilers, Bert. You don't actually read the text.
No, I don't read any of it.
There's a schedule.
I thought Unicorn came out before Crane.
I think
I'm a product of my generation. I don't read, dude. I read headlines and then I look at the pictures.
there was a
clickbait
graphic.
headline.
There was a graphic describing this situation in perfect detail, Bert. It had an infographic.
Too many words, man.
There's
You
a
didn't need
crane.
to read it, it was just colours.
There's a pic. Yeah, there was a
Purple
blue.
and blue.
There's a blue.
Are you guys trolling me or was there one? Okay.
There was legitimately an infographic.
So it'd be really exciting.
just missed it.
to
There was
get
some
those.
intern that spent like a good few hours trying to put that thing together.
I guess.
Probably went through a few runs.
How exciting is it just to feel like by the end of next year you'll have a very sizable card pool that hopefully gives each clan at least 2 decks.
And Crane will have
Very
a
strong.
stronghold that actually does
Yeah, well,
something.
Crane will
Like
get a
you
box.
might actually get to bow your box once a game.
Crane will get a box. Woo! It'd be really exciting.
That'd be great.
Yeah, they're
Duelist-
just going
duelist
to
based
dump
box.
cards on us next year. Like, we're going to have a deluge of cards. 2 cycles, this thing, clan packs.
Do you reckon there'll be 2 cycles as well? That's
In
a
a year.
lot.
Wow.
I think so. I mean, that's their usual modus operandi.
In Thrones, the deluxe just came out in the middle of the cycle.
It's like 1.5 packs a month almost.
That is a lot of cards.
It's a lot of product.
Yeah.
But why don't we just take a moment to say hello to our guest?
What's up, Paris? How you doing, man?
Hello. Happy to be down under here.
So Paris is a recent import from the New York scene. We poached him. We know absolutely nothing about New York, but we're very happy to have you.
I actually first heard about you, Paris, before I met you because some dude on my Twitch was like trolling me and told me that I was going to expect a new visitor to the Melbourne card scene. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that would be Arash. Shout out to Arash if he's listening. I think he's Arash Suri on Twitch. I think.
Okay, I know him. Yeah. So he's one of your metamates that's going to come to Worlds as well, right?
Yep, I think he's the one guy from New York that I know is going to Worlds, and I think he's probably the only one that's going to Worlds. Yeah, but he's a Dragon Hatamoto, so he'll be playing the clan that we all know and love.
It's a special kind of love, isn't it? Really, the Dragon love.
It's the sort of love where I just give my opponent 5 cards into the discard pile every game.
Willingly, right?
It's the gift that keeps on giving.
So do we know anything more about how to combat resto? We've now got the new pack's been out for a day. We've tested for a day. Do we feel more knowledgeable, or ultimately do we think we're just going to roll a dice and go to Vegas?
How much of an impact do you guys have played with it more than me? How much of an impact do you think that new pack has actually had on the metagame? Like, given that you've had 48 hours to test it.
So we played a fair few games in the last day or two, haven't we, guys?
Yeah, a bunch.
What are your thoughts, Ben? Because I know you were testing new box.
And you're the Scorpion boy, right? You're Scorpion
Well,
Hanamoto.
I will say this. I will say that in terms of ability to have fun, I am that fun 5R guy. It's what my favorite format. What I would say is that new Scorpion box, Kyuden Bushi, is so much fun to play. And if I talk about it in terms of competitive candidate for Worlds, I would say it is so much fun to play.
I think it was interesting because we played a game where I was on old box and Ben was on the new box.
Right.
And it was very clear to me that if you can control who's less honorable, you can have a very huge advantage. So I basically stopped all these From the Shadows cards because I stayed lower honor. And I never tapped my box unless I was actually going to remain less honorable.
Right.
Which allowed for some really interesting interactions. What do we think are the best cards out of like what we've seen? I think the Alibi Artist is something that's just, to me that's a huge card.
Yeah,
very
he
strong.
seems amazing.
The thing is, I'm not actually sure about the Alibi Artist's value in like traditional Scorpion because you have to be at 6 honor or lower, and in a lot of matchups. It's actually kind of tricky to get that low.
And you don't really want to see him turn 1 because he's off.
Not at all.
I don't think he's 3 off.
And normally you want to see weenies early rather than later. Later you want to see your heavy hitters. I think so. Yeah, so it's kind of he's in a weird spot. I'm still trying him out. I think he's.
Do you think it just pushes Scorpion players to play more of those cards that let them get down at that level?
Yeah, like playing 3 Assassinates. That's what I've moved to.
Yeah. But I think that obviously auto include in the new Bayushi Kyuden where you start at 9 honor and you just lose honor through everything that you do. But
I also think his ability, like late game, if you're locked in low bids, it becomes even that much more important. It's like a Shrudisuki on turn 3 when you're both bidding 1. It's a really strong effect.
I was on 2 honor against the Lion player. I saw 4 cards and got to pick the 2 best ones, and it was the answers I needed to win the game from there. So it's sort of like Shrudisuki. You can dig for the answer that you need for that turn.
But,
I did have
Yusuki's always on, I guess.
No, you need a holding in play.
It's
yeah,
practically always on.
With sabotage, but see, with sabotage and stuff, like you might get to a point where you might not always have a holding in play. So
I did have a
Sabotage.
reflection.
Nobody plays Sabotage.
I play sabotage.
is like Jay was talking about the crane box. I was thinking, you know what? This new Scorpion box, which says bow the box and straighten my guy and give them +1/+1 if certain conditions are true, right? I'm looking at that and going, nah.
It's still not as good as the core Scorpion box.
Can you imagine crane players if they had a box that said like bow straighten a guy?
Or magistrate station.
They've got that.
But it's like your blocks. You can't
Your
blow it
actual
up.
blocks.
It's just on all the time. Yeah.
Crane players wouldn't know what to do
You
with
red
themselves.
boys have got it good, I tell you what.
So yeah, like that's our second stronghold, and it's
I think the big winning cards out of that set are probably the non-Scorpion ones overall.
Famiki is incredible.
Yeah,
The crane and the
Yeah,
unicorn.
She's amazing. Yeah, they're both amazing. And I mean, Judy as well, right? Judy has a game-changing card. It's just unfortunate that they're doing the 1 per deck model. Like huge swings off a card that you can't reliably see. But
It's going to make Stolen Secrets better, mate. Steal their duty.
I still haven't been able to get the blackmail deck that I really want to run with that card in it to the table. I do. What do you guys think about Judy now that we played with it? To be honest, there's been a lot of feel-bad moments where I've bid incorrectly based on the fact that Judy exists.
Yeah.
So I bid one, and then Ben played Judy, and so he just was able to draw 5. I drew 1.
I mean, it
honor.
makes
Felt
that
good.
turn.
Can't bid one,
It
right?
makes that turn 3 on a dial bid during the draw phase really, really interesting. Like you have to assume they've got it in hand, and that affects the way that you're going to bid. But yeah, I don't know. The idea of 1 per deck card effects being extraordinarily powerful and swingy, yet unreliable to draw. I don't know. It bugs me.
It's not as bad as the Dynasty 1 per decks, I don't think, because...
You don't think?
I don't think it is, because you can draw your whole deck.
It feels
It's
pretty bad, man. Like you're on 2 or 3 honor. Your opponent bids 1, you bid 5. You don't suffer the honor loss. Indeed, you gain an honor and you draw 5 cards.
yeah, when that
pretty
happens, it's
huge.
awful. You have to set that up. You have to have cancels in hand to cancel their cancels, and
you do definitely need to now be like as Jay's saying, like on because turn 3 is generally the turn where people swing their bids quite a bit.
Yeah.
And you know, if you're a Scorpion player, typically on turn 3, your honor's starting to tank it a bit, depending on the way you're set it up. And if you're running new box, then it's absolutely in the toilet, right? You've got 3 honor at most or something, right? If you're doing new box the way you should.
The thing about that card is that you proactively activate the card.
Yeah.
Right? So I feel like it's supposed to be, like it's designed to be a card where you can go low and then just in case you get dishonored out of the game, it sort of prevents that. But it actually doesn't, right? You go hard, you bring their bids down to 1, and then you play this and then destroy them with card advantage. Like that's. I don't feel like that's the intended design of the card.
one
not
way
not
to-
that I know. But
It
I
literally
agree.
says framework step on the card.
which is nasty. So like dishonored characters leaving play, you can prevent.
Yeah.
But one way to get around that is just to not let your Scorpion opponent get too low and just match them with 5 bids and just realize you're never going to dishonor a Scorpion unless it's a mirror and just go for breaks.
And guess
That's
what?
what I would say.
And guess what? You'll have more cards in your hand, and it'll be fun.
he said as he lost 2 honor by playing Bonsai.
Well, in the mirror is a little different because the mirror, like, there's a persistent advantage to having lower honor than your opponent for a lot of reasons.
I think it's also interesting that they didn't add a 1 per deck card in the Phoenix pack, right? Unless I was
Conjo District,
sleeping on
wasn't
the
that in
job.
Phoenix pack?
No,
Was-
that was in
no, that was in-
Imperial Cycle.
Yeah.
God, that card's good.
So
What about Hito District? How do you feel about Hito and Chisei districts?
They're incredible. Yeah. Wow.
Ben's going, what? What
Make it
card
out
is
like
that?
Chisei
Someone
District.
played Chisei against me last night on Jikoku. I'm like, oh my god.
Well, maybe that's just our meta. Paris, is Chisei District, is that tearing up the New York meta?
Yeah, all of our is that wait, that's the crane or the lion one?
It's a crane one, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I actually sent that card today to one of my friends in New York to play in his Imperial Crane deck that he's itching to play, but he wants to wait until the new Totori's out.
Hey, man.
That Imperial deck's getting quite strong. There's a lot more Imperial cards coming out where Ishikawa might rear its head again. I think the issue is that everyone always says to me, well, you just get clouded. And then your 12-12 Dreamboat character, the pinnacle of the Imperial army, because of, just a bit of a, fairy dragon magic. What do we call it in Rokugan? I don't remember.
Drugs. Cloud the Mine is
Yeah,
just hard
it's
drugs.
drugs.
Opium.
Yeah, there you go. Opium. Well, the Opium Minstrels, just whacking it
I
on
think it's
him.
called Milk from the Poppy.
Milk of the Poppy, yeah.
Milk of
Yeah.
the Poppy.
How do you feel about your clan champion going neutral, Birdie?
I am such a fan. The reward that Lion players get for having their champ win the Emerald Championship is them printing a character that's categorically better for every other clan but Lion. So for starters, we can't play more than 3 copies of a card named Akoto Toturi because he's unique.
Yeah.
So I think you can mix them up. You can play.
Yeah.
You could play two neutrals.
But the new one can't be Way of the
You
Lion.
can dupe each other, I think, too.
Yeah. But the new one can't be Way of the Lion. So
Yes, he can.
he's not a lion
No,
character.
you put the seal of the lion on him. You can get value. You get value out of your cards that are in your binder right now.
Outside of Glen's Never Never Land, you can't play Way of the Lion on him.
Then he's a commander as well.
And yeah, he's just like his
Wait,
text is.
new Toturi is a commander.
No, with the seal of the lion.
His eyes lit up.
I always
yeah.
thought he was amazing.
I mean,
Even the odds, my God.
I think Scorpion probably use him more than anyone, which is hilarious.
That is kind of funny.
Well, Shoju is the regent, so it makes sense.
Paris, was there
Like,
anything?
Shoju should be utilizing Toturi. Toturi is an employee of Shoju at the moment, so
Paris, is there anything that stuck out from the spoiler article about the new set?
I think the new unicorn two-coster looks great, right?
The duelist,
The duelist, yeah. Who, if you have
composure. Yep.
she's a 4/2 cavalry for 2, or she can act as a harpoon if she wins. No, if she loses her duel, she can act as a harpoon. So she seems like a win-win, right?
I think we should that kind of helps us discuss the kind of reframing of the dueling mechanic. It seems going into this set. That card's really, really interesting one because there's a benefit for winning or losing. So it makes the dial choice a lot more dynamic and interesting than what I thought it would be. Because obviously all the duels up to now have been bully duels, so it's good to see a duel that kind of encourages a thoughtful process as to, are you going to harpoon in someone, or is it more beneficial that you win this?
So if you duel someone with that character who's got more skill than you, you can just sack the duel and lose, bid 1. And they also bid 1, obviously, so nobody has composure. But if you duel someone who has less than you, they're kind of inclined to bid higher, or they're disinclined to bid higher, so you can kind of, if you need to win the duel, you can guarantee the win as well, which is kind of cool.
Do we want to talk about the elephant in the room as far as pushing the dual mechanic and the importance of having dials lower than
Are we talking about Bert Perry's favourite card, Maze of Illusion? Is that what we're talking about?
the card that Marwan played against me 6 times in one match on Wednesday night.
Now, Jay, you claim that you have, you've
I
grown up.
I have achieved the state of Zen as far as that card is
Nirvana?
concerned.
Maze Nirvana.
No,
Let's
just
gamble!
zero respect. I don't even look at the guy who plays it. I just roll the dice and declare odds evens. Like, it's a zero respect play. Fuck that card.
That's what I used to do for Restoration of the Balance. I've got a D4 in my kit so that I
Yeah,
can just roll it.
Yeah, I do that
Just
too.
zero respect.
is it a green D4?
It's a blue D4.
Oh, it's a blue.
I should change it to a red D4 actually, or an orange D4.
But yeah, like composure seems like a really cool mechanic, save for the fact that a card like Maze of Illusion exists. Like I like the idea of a card enabling you to reset your dial outside a duel.
Which they have now.
Yeah.
Do you think it should?
through that character, right?
Yeah, the character lets you swap duels with your opponent.
I
Yeah,
love
yeah.
that ability. That's a really cool
Swap
ability.
dials with your opponent.
That is a total
which is
head
really
fuck.
interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Is that a neutral
I mean,
character?
I think we've bitched about Maze a lot.
No, we don't need to.
Enough.
We don't need to
rehash
about Maze or
that.
Resto.
Yeah.
We get it.
The other card that I love was this crab one. The In Defense of Rokugan one
Oh
cost
yeah,
event.
that's amazing.
Where you just, all the conditions are sacrifice a friendly character. Pretty sure it doesn't have to be participating, right?
No.
And then you basically set an attacker.
I think it does
set
have to be
zero.
defending.
It's got-
Defending? Yeah.
I think so.
Oh yeah,
And then
it's
you set-
sacrifice a defending character, isn't
And
it?
then you
Yeah.
set a unit's skill to 0.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which combos really well with Aramoro and Shoju.
Yeah, yeah.
And also it can
is
shut
incredible.
down. It's also good because it can shut down the like Voltron-y, Dragony type units.
Yeah.
So it's another kill. It's another kill card. Basically, it's another red card that's a kill card in my eyes.
I mean, it's a kill card, but it's also anti-tower tech. Like if you're banking everything on one character doing all your heavy lifting for you, setting it to 0 is it's massive.
Do you think it makes like Taka and Yusuke Broker playable? I know Paris. You've
Yes,
been playing.
please.
You've been playing a bit of that recently. What do you reckon?
Well, Taka has the best art in the game, I think, so I like to play him. And the Yusuke Broker had one great turn for me, and that's all I ever wanted out of her.
Are you running Yoritomo in that deck?
I was not running Yoritomo in that deck, no.
Just seems like if you're going to collect so much fate,
Yoritomo's another Scorpion character, I believe. He's got an invisible ink red border.
Taka best art in the game, you reckon? That's a big call.
You got the cheeky little smile.
He
You got the coin
grinning. He
flip.
does have the shit-eating
Yeah.
grin, yeah. What's your pick for best art, Benny? Favorite art?
It's a good question.
I can answer this.
Come back to it.
I can answer mine.
All right.
Baishi's Whisperers.
Bayushi's Whisperer
It
is
is a good
awesome.
piece of
Looking
art.
out into the city.
I would say Bayushi Kachiko. I think that
She's got
art
great
is
art.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kachiko's art is phenomenal.
Also Asami, that Wibisono man. He's a talented dude.
I
The art
actually
in this game is just off the charts, though.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I like anything like the Moto Horde that I have as a playmat.
Oh yeah, that's
I
amazing.
think the art. I think it's Stephen Chen. I think his name is the artist is. He does some really beautiful like water sort of pastel work because he did Elemental Fury as well.
Yeah.
Elemental Fury on a big blown up canvas would look amazing because it's a shame that it's.
Melon's got a playmat. You've
Yeah.
seen it, right?
I haven't seen that play.
It looks
it's
beautiful.
sick.
Yeah.
My favorite piece of art from the old game. I'm gonna just put it out there,
Here
and,
we
and
go.
you guys can go and Google it or oracleofthevoid.com it. I think it's imperialassembly.com these days, but Oracle of the Void it is if you go back into original like I think it's Imperial Edition, Matsu Agitoki. It's like an 80s Golden Axe cartoon style lion.
I'm not
and
surprised in the
He's
slightest.
got the most amazing mustache.
Yeah, that is a great
point.
bit of art. It's amazing.
Matsu Agitoki, man. Do
Do you think we'll get a reprint in
There was a-
New 5R?
There was, I don't know, maybe there was a guy in the old 5R who was a monk, who was a white guy, right? Like it was so strange. It was like the designers
David
said,
Carradine and like
yeah, so weird.
Oh, Kung Fu's
My name
fucking
is-
great.
Yeah.
Keen.
So what did we also think of the neutral card that that cancels a duel? So you just
Oh, I love it.
stay
what's it
the
called?
hand,
Stay your
the,
blades?
stay the hand,
Stay the hand.
and the flavor text is another time perhaps.
Yeah. Next time, perhaps. Yeah.
It should have been called Zipper the Lip. Like it's reaction council policy debate. I know it
when
does
when
other
a problem
stuff.
comes along, you must zip it.
Yeah.
Do you think that policy debate it could then lead to policy debate coming off the restricted list because there is now a neutral
hope
answer
not.
to it?
I hope not.
Yeah.
Look, that card should be banned. It's just horrible design, just horrible everything.
I think
Not
that's
fun to play.
The Stay Your Hand card is a nice one for them to spoil early because
Yeah.
presumably there's a lot of
There's
duels
a lot
coming
of
up.
really bad
So
duels
like
coming.
it's like a carte blanche. They say, "Hey, we've printed the answer, boys.
So
So now we're going to spoil.
don't
Well, now you're going to spoil policy debate too."
so.
It's like Hamilton rap battle 2.
We do have speaking of old 5R, there's a fellow who, Nathaniel, who quite a few of us are quite familiar with, and we're about to throw to an interview with him. So Nathaniel is like an old Crane player, used to play old 5R, started new 5R, but he's won like a few Codes, won a championship, and I think we might get him to talk about the specific tournament that he won, and there's some stories around that. Do you guys remember Nathaniel, out of curiosity?
His champ.
Yeah,
One of my favorite humans.
I met him like on launch night. He's a nice dude.
So my housemate has actually invited all of you guys over to my place in a couple of weeks for dinner, and Nathaniel's coming, apparently.
Oh, cool.
He should listen to this episode, and
I'm
Yes.
sure he will.
We should put like a test question in this podcast
yeah, to see if he listens.
to see if he listens. Like
Well, hang on.
the eagle flies west or something.
Maybe-
And if he answers only in the summertime, we give him a kiss on the mouth. Or something.
I'll leave that one up to you, Jay.
I'm not going to dinner.
all right.
Well, there you go. We'll cross over to the interview now, and we'll talk to you again shortly.
Do. This episode has been supported in part by Karate District. Whether you need a new fine katana or an ornate fan for Evil Grandma's birthday, you can find it at Karate District. Karate District has Otosanuchi's largest selection of new and second-hand merchandise from across the Emerald Empire. My wife and I were recently visiting her brother in the Scorpion Lands, going to our annual pilgrimage to the Castle of Learning, when we were suddenly ambushed by samurai. The samurai seemed pretty unassuming, but there was a lady with them that didn't like us one bit. She kept saying how we brought shame to our families, and we weren't welcome in the castle, so we kind of just ended up bowing and going home. So the first thing I did when I got back home was I headed down to Karate District to pick myself up a finger of jade, and now I don't leave home without it. If you want to keep supporting the podcast, then please head down to Karate District and use the promo code ROLLERS to get 10% off your first purchase at participating vendors. That promo code again is ROLLERS. Thank you, Karate District, and now back to the episode.
Hey, Nathaniel, how's it going?
Oh, great, Ben. Thank you for having me on the show.
Yeah, so for the podcast listeners here, we thought we'd bring you a little bit of a storytime segment. Nathaniel is a long-time Legend of the Five Rings guru from Melbourne. He's played the old game and the new game, and I think he's had his fair share of tournament success in the old days. A Crane champion, one might say.
Yeah, I think it was the turquoise champion is the trophy I got. I'm not sure where I put it, but it happens.
The turquoise championship. I love all those different gems they used to run through.
Yeah, I always loved that because it was, it was so pretentious. Like, what is a turquoise champion? And I mean, you can go to the L5R wiki and it'll tell you, but like, how does it make you feel? That's what it really.
How did it make you feel to become the turquoise champion, to hoist up that Aqua Cup?
Fantastic, actually. That was that was a crazy tournament. It was I think it was like in Sydney. It was a Sydney tournament.
So you travelled?
Yeah, we travelled. And I stayed with a friend. You know Dwight. Big mustachioed dude. I broke his bed in the middle of the night because I was tossing and turning. I was tossing and turning so much that his bed collapsed at like 5 a.m. and he came out and he's like, "What did you do to my bed?" And I was like, "Oh my god, man, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to break your bed. I'm such a bad guest." Blah blah blah. And he's like, "Nah, don't worry about it. That happens sometimes." I was like, you didn't want to warn me that the bed broke like in the middle of the night." But yeah, not super well slept. The tournament was hot. And it was at a crazy time in L5R's like history as well. You had that Oni deck that like could split into like 1 million demons. Do you remember that?
What was the edition?
I want to say Emperor.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, so you had that Oni deck that could split into like 1 million demons.
Yeah.
You had Mantis had this ship that would go around like raiding things, and I don't know what that meant mechanically. I don't think I even understood at the time. I just like someone would go, "Oh yeah, I'd do a raid," and I was like, "Oh shit, all right, I'll just pack up my cards." Yeah, I was playing this filthy deck that I put together, and I don't know if I'm sure I wasn't the one that originally came up with it. Even though I think I was the first one in our play group to really sort of crack onto that deck type, which was just every piece of honor tech you could have, plus this busted card called Exotic Gifts, which I think allowed your artisans to make you give you honor, and we had some free artisans too. And it was like, I don't think there was a personality there that cost more than like 4 gold or 6 gold. And the basic name of the game was just getting out personalities and gaining lots of super honor. And I remember getting to the finals, and there was a break before before me in the finals and the previous games were finishing up. And I went to the pub, and I remember I downed like 2 big beers, and it was in Sydney. So I don't know what the context behind this was, but there was one of those big like Chinese like wealth frogs in like a fountain. And I remember being like, all right, I got like $5 in coinage because I've been buying like Coca-Colas and like Snickers bars all day. So I just gave the frog the $5 and I'm like, look, I don't know what you are. I'm a pretty, ostensibly white guy. But if you have any power over card games or tournaments, please, help me win. Because I was coming up against, I think, Conan's Phoenix deck, which was just an outrageous monster. It was. I remember it being so good because I lost to it. It was the only deck that I lost to that day during the I managed pulling that one in, which was great because the Turquoise Championship, to give the listeners some closure, was actually the artisan, like the artist champion. So to be the Turquoise Champion meant to be the best poet or like painter in the land. So it was great. I really wanted that one because that was the natural fit for Crane.
And your deck, right? Like you were playing an artisan deck.
Yeah, I 100% was. And I think I had the Turquoise Champion card in my deck. Though my memory is a little fuzzy there. And AEG promised me a card and we emailed, conferred a bit after that about what the card would do, and then I didn't hear from them for 6 months, and then a completely different card, which was entirely underwhelming, came out.
you remember
But
what
it
it
had
was
my
called?
name at the bottom, and you know what? Once you gain that sort of immortality in a card game, what can you? How can
Can you remember what the card was called? No.
Is Oracle of the Void still a thing?
It is still a thing, man. I've got it up
God.
right in front of me.
I honestly have no idea. Can you can't search my name in there, can you?
You can search card text. I'll try Nathaniel. See what happens.
Yeah, I don't know.
No.
It was because it actually came out after I finished. Turquoise Adjunct.
Turquoise adjunct. Oh my god! I love how sometimes these really unwieldy names.
Was that me? That doesn't have my name on it, so maybe not. But yeah, I feel like that might.
Yeah, it does have your name on it. 2013 Turquoise
there we
Championships.
go.
Nathaniel Robinson.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's real. That story wasn't a fever dream. So yeah, fantastic.
For those of you out there listening going, Turquoise Adjunct, I used to play L5R and I never played that card. I can't remember. It was a rare strategy that allowed you to permanently give your target personality an ability that said discard a card to produce gold equal to its focus value.
That sounds awful. Why would you play that?
Man,
But
do you
you
miss
don't-
focus value in the new game?
Not at all, actually. It's
Yeah.
interesting because I've fallen out of the new game a little bit, but I actually really, really, really like the design. I think focus value was super clunky, and I from what I can remember, I'm not super happy with how dueling's done here as well. But I mean, it was one of the things that had to go. It was you could do some busted shit with it, but I love how they've cleaned it up. I love the rings thing. I love personalities being better put together. Yeah, I don't know. What about yourself? Anything you miss from old L5R?
I do miss the focus value, but I agree that I think there's a complexity budget in game design. I think it's pretty smart that they went, you know what? There's so much stuff going on. We're trying to get in a new crop of players. It seems very tough. And I mean, dueling's probably the bit. And there was an interview a few weeks ago with Tyler, the lead designer, where they were talking about the early days. They purposely went very light on in dueling because there's so many mechanics and things that they need to concepts they need to introduce. So let's not go too heavy on that. So I think it's something they'll revisit in the future.
I hope so. I mean, that's something that's really the problem with L5R, right? Is that you've built this amazing world that has so many elements that people love, and people tend to love one element. Like, there's the guy who loves dueling, or there's the guy that's like, oh, when's Toturi's army coming back? I'm still waiting.
Still waiting, bro.
Yeah, and shout out to Ux. Love you, bud.
Oh, Ukami, my man.
But I think part of the problem with this new game, at least what I was seeing on the ground level, was that there was no possible way to satisfy everyone that loved all of those things. Because if you were still waiting for Toturi's army or dueling or whatever in the old game, well, it's the old game, it's all you've got. But here they were pushing a new product, and I think for some people it was very difficult to be like, there's no Mantis clan, et cetera, et cetera. And while I really appreciate and I adore how they've cleaned it up, that's probably only because I still have a clan. So, it's hard to have a game that focuses so much on factionalization and almost the fetishization of certain mechanics that got gutted or removed or completely retooled. But I think ultimately for the best.
I agree. What's been fun to watch, I know you've been kind of out of it for a little bit, but maybe you can return soon.
I'm hoping.
Release, mate. You got to tell Ant the Scorps pack is out on Thursday. And
I will.
Man, it's amazing. He's got his ninjas back.
I'm super keen. Yeah, he's. I got to convince everyone to sort of get back on the wagon for that one.
Yeah, but they started introducing, just as neutral cards, they started introducing some of the old, traits. So you've got a couple of Mantis Clan personalities that are starting to show. Yoritomo's in the game.
Are they neutral or...?
They're neutral, but they've got the Mantis Clan... so they've got the neutral background, but they've got the Mantis Clan keyword.
Oh,
so
that's fine then. Yeah.
It means
That's something,
presumably in the future, if they release... Because I think, it's important at the moment for them to have, fleshed out main clans. Like, you don't need to, put in an 8th or 9th faction. Trying to get 7 playable clans that have a few strategies each is pretty hard and requires a pretty deep card pool. But it's nice they've got...
Yeah.
Yeah. And they've got Rattlings, Nizumi.
Oh, yeah, they're getting a sort of sub-faction, I guess.
Yeah, well, it's... they're appearing in neutral cards. There's also like a Crab Nizumi. Crab Clan little dude that mucks around with Province Strength.
No, that's fantastic. Yeah, I was always like... I'm super keen with how they've done the game. I love fighting for the various rings, because now... when you tell new players, it's Legend for the 5 rings, they don't stare at you blankly and go, what 5 rings?
It's like those ones.
Now the 5 rings are actually core to the game and not just a joke. You got beaten by an enlightenment deck, your life's a joke.
Yeah.
I remember losing for the first time to an enlightenment deck, and it was not a good feeling. It was like, do you remember the first time you ever got fired from a job?
Yes.
That's how it felt. Like, yeah, I had it coming. I'm a piece of shit.
Questioning your existence.
I'm like, is this how people become drifters? Is this is there a train like going out of Melbourne? I might wander up to Albury where maybe I can win a few more games. But it's one thing that rubbed me the wrong way was the clan packs. I like them in the idea of them very much, but wow, it's a long time to wait, isn't it?
Yeah, at least now they've announced, I don't know if you missed out on this, they put out an announcement about a month ago saying that all clan packs will be out by the end of next year, and they released the order they're coming out in. So Crane's so Crane's the next one, and it's either coming out in January or by the end of the year. But
I'll be
the
all
next
in
one
at that point, probably.
Yeah. So that's the next one. That's the next, and then after Crane, it's Unicorn. Oh, one thing you probably missed too is Unicorn are very playable now.
Oh, thank Christ!
Yeah, they can do crazy things.
Really, really needed something. What did they get? What changed? What fixed them?
A couple of things fixed it. They got a holding called Shitomi Encampment, which is non-unique, so you can run 3 of them in your deck, and it says if you've won a military conflict as an action, stand a cavalry character. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah, so you can. So it's huge, right? So you attack in, and then you can stand a cavalry character. And then the other big card they got was their new stronghold, which is the same as the new Lion stronghold, the Hisu Moritori. So in the fiction, it was like a unicorn province that got stolen by conquered by the lion, and then the unicorn conquered it back. So they've both got a strong... Yeah. So they've both got a... obviously not based on tournament results.
Yeah.
But they've got a stronghold that's the same name for Lion and Unicorn. And what that one does is if you win a military conflict and you have more characters than the opponent that were participating, you can bow the stronghold, get rid of a cavalry character, sack a cavalry character, and you get another military conflict this turn.
Oh, wow. That's crazy. Yeah, wow.
So it means that Unicorn have got a lot of punch in them now.
Yeah, that's great, though. It's time for them to have, like, an actual, chance at the top, I guess. What would you call the top? What's the top tier? I'm guessing it's Dragon. It always kind of feels like it's Dragon.
Yeah, it's definitely Dragon at the moment. But obviously on Thursday, this new clan pack drops, and
are you expecting to change?
Well, it's a really interesting question, because essentially what it comes down to is Dragon's weakness at the moment is very, very fast decks, right? And at the moment, there's no very, very fast deck that consistently can win. So people are looking at is, Unicorn an option. So it's kind of, because Dragon tend to, the way that they win is spend almost nothing on turn 1 because your opponent's too afraid to attack you because of resto. And then they've just got this big giant amount of fate. So on turn 2, they'll bring out like a 3 fate Kitsuki Investigator, and then every other turn after that, they're just bringing out 3 and 4 fated characters, and their board states.
How do you
so
compete
huge.
with that?
Yeah,
how can you compete with that?
and Void Fist, I'm not sure it's a card you may have missed, but Void Fist is a card which is free, and if you control a monk and you've played 2 cards already in the conflict, which is pretty easy as Dragon, send a character home and bow them.
Jeez.
And you can recur it. So it's really, really hard to beat Dragon in the long game, so you have to beat them in short game. There's a lot of tricks in this new pack that can potentially help, take those early provinces and deal with Dragon in certain ways. So
and Dragon haven't had a clan pack yet either, have they?
No.
But
I mean, look.
Question.
But I think they did a good job with what they're doing with Scorpion, at least in the clan pack. Instead of just bolstering up their current deck, they're just supporting a completely new strategy. Like, they're just going very hard on the aggro conquest deck with the Shinobis.
That's great.
Yeah.
The ninjas have always been a fantastic, sort of sub-theme.
Yeah.
And it's those depthing clans that I think really draw people to the game. Because you never really have I'm just a Scorpion player. It's I'm a Scorpion player, but, I love the ninjas.
Yeah.
I only cracked out the scouts when times got tough. I've always been a courtier man. If I'm playing scouts, it's oh boy, something has gone wrong.
Do you spend all day longing to be doing something that brings meaning and fulfillment to your life? Are you happy with your current place in the Celestial Order? Well, perhaps it's time to consider a career in the art of dueling. The Kikita Dueling Academy has been training young hopefuls in the art of swordcraft and dueling for over 1,000 years. As a graduate of the Kikita Dueling Academy, I myself have learnt to apply those same skills to the wild arena of competitive podcasting, adding insult to injury with every flick of my tongue as surely and as sharply as any blade. As Tengu-sensei so aptly puts it, caw. Don't miss out on this exciting new chapter of your life by enrolling and using the code ROLLERS, which will curry much favour with your new sensei. Thank you, Kikita Dueling Academy. And now back to the episode.
That's another point I like about the way they've done the design in this game is they've got some keywords like scouts and magistrates. They've been printed on lots of cards, but there's no cards that say, if you've got a scout character, do X or but they've left themselves, backwards compatibility. So if they bring out, in the future, magistrate cards or scout cards, they've already got a bunch of characters. They don't have to. Yeah.
It's one thing I feel like we were missing in the old AEG game was that sort of length of viewpoint on the game. Being able to look ahead and be all right, well, I need to open up some design space, even if I'm not going to use it today or next year, in the future. And I think that's vital for any game to survive in a healthy state.
Absolutely.
But it's unfortunately something that was missing from the old game. I love that game. But the changes and the things that Fantasy Flight bring to the table, are incredible. They've really done it justice. I can disagree with the way they've sort of marketed or released the game, but honestly, to see the property that I love be treated with so much respect, and sincerity, really, it's wonderful. It's great. It's being a Game of Thrones fan or a Song of Ice and Fire fan and getting the 7th book. It's something you never thought would happen. but here we are. It really makes me happy.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for this conversation. I'm sure our listeners will hopefully have had a good time listening to you recount your Turquoise Championship conquest.
No problem. And look, one day I'll be back, so I'll be there to lose more games. I'm looking forward to seeing lots of new friendly faces, cool. Including that Glen guy who I love because he seems super reasonable. He's the only reasonable one in the in the rollers sometimes. Yeah, I listen to him. I'm yeah, he makes sense. And then Merlin spouts the craziest shit. But yeah, no, I'm definitely looking forward to coming back. So having me.
No worries. Just last quick one. So you don't play the game at the moment, but you do listen to our podcast.
Yeah. I've got something on my own in the works, and I was trying to figure out. I know I've got a few friends who have their own podcast, and I looked at yours, and I I listened to that dope like opening song, and I was just hooked. And it was great. It was like, you know, being in a pub with 5 guys talking shit about L5R again. So I super happy, and I've gone back. And you've got a listener in me now, and not just because I'm a guest on the show. You know, with all the sincerity my heart can muster. Yeah, it's super great.
I love you too, Nathaniel.
Oh, stop it. Stop it. Well, thank you for having me.
No worries. All right. Back to you, main rollercast.
All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening. We didn't really have time to cover off everything that we wanted to this week, especially a beginners tournament that was run here in Melbourne. We got a bit of coverage from that, and we'll be talking about that next week, as well as any news that will have sprung up between now and next time we record. So until then, we'll see you later.